Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is going to be my review for the originals, Season 2, Episode 7, Chasing the Devil's Tail, and this episode was once again another amazing episode. As I said, the originals really this season, they can't do any wrong. Everything about the season has been amazing, and this episode was no exception because I loved it definitely. I thought this was just a fantastic episode. I loved it, and I will say the last week's episode was better, but this episode was more of a building episode. There was a lot of stuff that happened in it, and this definitely was a big episode. However, in terms of, episode that had, better story or whatever, I did think last week's episode was better constructed. However, I still love this episode. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and let's just get to it because I thought it was great. So, the way this episode starts is actually very strange. It combines a flashback with, something that's actually going on. It's really weird the way they started it. Because basically we see that Klaus and Elijah, we see a young Klaus and Elijah, they're running through the woods, and young Elijah meets up with, the new Elijah. And this is really weird, because basically we hear Elijah whispering into this little boy's, ears, the little child Elijah, that, hey, just so you know, he's like, oh, you're going to become a killer, and just be warned that you're going to be a killer and everything. And I'm just like, what's going on here? How is Elijah in this dream world? Because, we have no idea what happened to Elijah. Of course, he didn't wake up, so we don't know. So I was saying maybe Esther put him here. I didn't really know what's going on there. So basically, we find out that, no, he is just dreaming this, and this is what the affliction has him believing. So, Klaus is trying to talk to his brother, and he's trying to persuade him by telling him he's not alone, that he wants to help him. But just as Klaus is wearing Tried, Haley startles him and explains to him that he is trying to break her spell. And Haley spots an area on Elijah that has a familiar look and goes out to find the remedy to Elijah's state, because they want to find out how to cure Elijah of this, because they don't want Elijah to be like this for a long time. They want him to get cured of this very, very quickly, because they need him to. He needs to be cured of this, and it makes sense why he needs to be. So Haley speaks to the unconscious Elijah and tells him that she will go after everything that her mother loves, and Oliver is put to rest as Jackson watches him sail on. And, by the way, I love that Haley just basically said that, I just want to kill her. I mean, there's a great line where Klaus and Haley are talking, and he's talking about how he wants to, have vengeance on his mother and everything, but she's like, I just want to kill her. I don't care. And it makes sense why she wants to kill her, because she killed Ollie, who meant a lot to her. Speaking of Ollie, we then get to Ollie's funeral, and it's very sad, because Ollie's put to rest as Jackson watched him sail on, and they don't really give him a proper funeral, and Jackson's pretty pissed off about it, because Ollie definitely meant a lot to him, and they're not even giving him a proper funeral, which I thought was definitely very sad, because no one shows up, and Jackson's really upset about this. So Haley tells Jackson that there's a war to be fought, and that she will wait for him to grieve, but their people need their alpha, and Haley brings the next best thing in. Now, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that once Oliver was gone, I'm like, okay, there's going to be a new werewolf. And yes, she brings in a younger werewolf to try to pose a plan to take down Finn. Because, of course, Finn is working with Cami, well, he's really not, but, definitely they're very worried about Cami. They don't want anything bad to happen to her. So Haley, the young wolf, and Marcel now have to contact Cami due to Finn's attraction to her. So Cami's discussing her thoughts against Klaus with Finn, and in a continued attempt to alter his trail on her, Cami asks for a new counselor because she wants to get close to Finn, and when things get a little awkward, he accepts by inviting her to a jazz concert. So that was very interesting what's going on there. I thought that was a very interesting scene. You can see that definitely Cami, I'm like, is Cami really falling for his tricks? I did not think Cami was that stupid. I'm kind of thinking, is Cami just going along with this? Is she really falling for his tricks? Or is she just going along with this and making it seem like she actually trusts him when really she doesn't, and she has something else up her sleeve? So I was kind of figuring out what was going on there, but I thought this was definitely a very interesting scene. So we then see Davina is practicing her magic in a mirror. And Kol breaks her concentration. Now, understandably, Davina is not happy with Kol, because, of course, the last time she saw Kol, he revealed to her that, all his secrets, that he's Kol, that he's not Caleb and everything. So she's pretty upset with him, despite even though she does have those feelings for him, you can tell that the two of them have feelings. In fact, this episode, these two had the most chemistry so far, I gotta say. These two, if they don't get together by the end of the season, I'm gonna say it right now, these two are gonna get together, because they have so much chemistry in this episode. It is genuine chemistry. It's not like, you know, Kol is just pretending. It's not like what Finn is doing. It's not like Finn is just pretending to like Cami because his mother's telling him to. No, this has been developed into a real relationship for Kol. He seems to really care about Davina, and I can definitely see a romance brewing between the two of them. And I'm all for it. If they want to do that, I'm all for it. Really, I am. So Kol admits that he's trying to charm her, but he can't share his secrets unless they trust each other. So Kol gives her to go ahead to call him Kol, but somewhere back home, his mother is calling him to return home. So obviously, you know, she's like, oh, your work is done here, you know, you don't need to help her anymore, but he wants to. He wants to keep helping Davina because he likes this relationship he has with her, but Esther's telling him no. Also, there's barely any Esther in this episode. She's only in a couple scenes, which I thought was well done because it focused more on Finn and Kol, which I definitely really liked. So Esther believes that when Elijah wakes up, the brothers will realize all that is at stake and join her, which is a really stupid plan because there's no way that's going to work. I mean, come on. I thought her plan was to bring back Talia. That's not mentioned one time in this episode. And I'm pretty sure the reason why is because that is sort of like her last minute result. I was kind of thinking, why hasn't she, you know, tried to think of a spell to resurrect Talia? And I know why. One, Talia was her enemy. She was her sister. She stole her child from her, and she wants nothing to do with her. Bringing back Talia is like the last result. If these two, you know, don't understand what's at stake, then she will bring back Talia. So Klaus is rummaging about the woods in search for the ingredients for an antidote, but he smells his real father, Ansel, along the way, and Klaus says that he does not want to take his mother's offer and asks his real father to piss off. And you can tell that Ansel wants to try to have a bond with him. He doesn't mean any harm. He just wants to have a good bond with his son. And I thought that was good that he wants to do that. But the thing is, this is Klaus we're talking about. Klaus is not going to have a real bond. He's not going to want to bond with his father. He's not going to because he doesn't know if he can trust him. And he tells him that he was the one who would find the orchids for his mother in his younger years. So I think that's interesting. You know, he kind of tells him that he's the reason why he had such a good relationship with his mother and things like that. And some of it, I didn't know if I would believe. Some of it, I felt like he was just trying to make himself sound like a good person so Klaus would bond with him. Because, you know, obviously he wants to bond with his son. He's just returned. He hasn't seen his son in so long. He obviously wants to bond with him. So I didn't really know if he was telling the truth here or if he was genuinely telling the truth or if he was just trying to, you know, make himself sound like a great guy so Klaus will, you know, listen to him and actually want to work with him. So Davina and Kol, I thought this scene was hilarious. They're in a car, they're driving back to the quarter, he has summoned back her mother, and I love the scene where she's listening to classical music, he switches off to like some jazz music. I thought that was just a very funny scene. I like the originals can incorporate some comedy in there, definitely. I like that, definitely. And I think Davina and Kol, they definitely have, as I said, really good chemistry, and I like what they're doing with them. And Kol tells her that he loved everything about being a vampire, and when he lost it all, he tried to get back all that was lost in magic. And Davina's continued to be wooed, but Kol, as he tells her, that the flirting was his idea, not his mother's. So that's interesting that he said that, because it wasn't. If you remember, it was not Esther's idea. Esther said, find Davina and use her. That's what she said. She never said start a relationship with her. Kol was the one who wanted to start this relationship with her, which really makes me think that he really does genuinely care about her. And I think that by this episode, it pretty much confirms that Kol does truly care about her. He is willing to spill all of his secrets to her, and Finn wouldn't do any of that. So I definitely feel that Kol is above Finn, and I think definitely that he is going to, you know, prove to Davina that she can trust him. So Josh, Cami, Marcel, and Haley, they're plotting against Finn, and I thought this scene was awesome. Cami shows them a box with some chains, and they're basically trying to figure out what to do here, because, you know, they have no idea what to do. They don't know if this is going to work and everything, but we see that definitely Cami's not on his side, because basically what Cami did is she has this box with some chains that are said to bind witches and hold them from doing magic. So Haley double checks with Cami to see if she's okay about being the bait, and she agrees, and they get this really awesome genius plan going, which I will talk about when we get to it, but it's really genius. So Klaus and Ansel, they're taking this walk together, and Klaus, you can tell, he doesn't want this relationship with his father. He does not want a relationship with him, but Ansel is doing the best to try to have one with him. And the two are hashing out the past, and Ansel tells him that one day he realized that he would need him, as well as the fact that he fought Michael for him, and his father sees Klaus's good nature, and has always done so, as he was there for every step in his life. And I thought that was very good that we saw that. And again, he means no harm here. He's just trying to have a good relation with his son, but it's not working. It's clearly not. So Kol returns to Esther, and when she tells him that Michael's back, he acts very surprised. But he already knew. He already knew that Michael was back. He pretty much already knew that because of the fact that that whole attack with him in the second episode, he knew about that. But she already knows he's hiding something. So I like the way this is going. He is hiding something from Esther when he should be hiding something from Davina. He's not, because he's not a bad person. And he's very safe and smart with his answer, but his mother still demands the white oak steak and tells him she doesn't care what he has to do to get it. She's like, I don't care what you have to do to get it, just get it. So the relationship between Ansel and Klaus is still suffering due to Ansel's absence, but it's possible that Ansel could be the fighter they need to defeat Michael. Klaus is kind of thinking that, and I was kind of thinking that as well, because it seems like no one is going to be able to take down Michael. I mean, Klaus has tried it. We didn't see Michael in this episode, which I like, because I feel like we're just gearing up for that final battle between Klaus and Michael, which I know is going to be totally worth it, and, I'm going to be, so happy about it, definitely. So when the time comes to take on Esther, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of role Ansel plays there. So that's kind of what I was thinking here. So the walk between the father and son continues, but run into a snag when they're met with a vervain trap. And Ansel questions Klaus's cowardly ways, but he refuses to entertain him and basically tells him to gather the orchids, seeing as he can't. And that was interesting. So Kol tells Davina about his playground and I like that he told her this, because she needed to know this. This was information that she needed to know, and I'm glad that he told her this. Basically, he tells her, I don't know why it's got so bright in here, guys. I don't know what's going on with my lighting, but it's weird. Just ignore it. Basically, he tells her when he was little, he needs her blood to open the tomb to gain what he wanted. And basically, the reason is because when he was little, there was a girl with the last name of Claire, and she could open the, tomb. So that's why he needs Davina. So Davina obliges him, and the two enter his own personal vault of dark objects, and he taught them how to make dark objects. And Kol says that he just wants to take down Klaus. That is his thing here. He just wants to take him down, which is understandable, because if you remember, Kol was jealous of Klaus, because Klaus was the one that was always favorited. Michael favorited his children, and, Kol was kind of pushed to the back. So it definitely makes sense why Kol wants to retaliate against Klaus, which I think is definitely very well done. The writing in this show is just fantastic, the way they're doing that. And she tells him that the daggers is not going to work on Klaus, and he asks her to make it work so that he won't be entirely dead and her friends can be safe. Because remember, you kill Klaus, you kill Marcel, Elijah, you kill those two right off the bat, they die. You kill Rebekah, you kill Stefan, Elena, Damon. You kill all those people that matter in the Vampire Diaries world. So if you kill Klaus, that's what's going to happen. So obviously they can't kill Klaus. So, I just keep thinking of that. It's interesting the way they keep making us think they're going to kill Klaus. We know they're not going to, because we know what's at stake if they do. So I think it's well done the way they're doing that. But at the same time, it's like, we know they're not going to kill Klaus. Obviously, they're not. We know they're not. So, basically, we see, meanwhile, at the jazz festival, Cami and Finn are enjoying the music. She's continuing to try to dig deeper, and she's actually doing a pretty good job. She's making it seem like she's genuinely interested in him. She does a really good job. She receives a phone call. She tells him to take it. She says, I have someone, and I really like the way she does this. She's like, I have someone else filling my shift. I need to take this call. She leaves, and Finn is left alone. As he looks away, he enters a trap set by Cami and her team. It was made to appear that she was attacked, but it was all a joke. So, once I saw this, I'm like, this is a genius plan. This was definitely one of the best plans I've seen this season. Their plan really is genius. It looks like she was attacked, but she wasn't. And when he turns around, Cami's gone. And Cami was a perfect person to do this, of course, because Cami's the only human here. Cami's the one that would be attacked. You know, it makes sense why Cami would be attacked. And, you know, it's understandable. So I thought that was a very well-done, genius plan that they had. So Klaus and his father, they're continuing their bond around a fire as his father tries to convince him to embrace his true side of being a werewolf. And, you know, Klaus pretty much just thinks that this is all Esther's doing, that this is all just Esther telling him what to do. But the thing is, I agree with Ansel. He was meant to be a werewolf. The only reason Klaus is a hybrid is because he ended up that way. And he was meant to be a werewolf, so he needs to accept that he should be a werewolf. And I do agree that I want Klaus to be able to accept that. I know it's going to be hard for him, but he should try to because he needs to. So Ansel's continuing to feed Klaus stories of him watching over him when he was younger. And he even tells, and this is when I'm like, you just went way too far. Because he tells Klaus that his child is still alive and he already knows. And I was like, okay, you just went way too far. Because it's not that Klaus needed to know that information. It's the fact that Klaus takes that very seriously and cares about his daughter more than anything. And we know that the thing that matters to him most is his child. And he doesn't even know what's going on with his child. All he knows is that he gave Rebekah his child, and she's taking care of his child. So, we don't know what's going on with him, and I thought that was just like, okay, I'm sorry, but you went too far there. So, Finn's trying to seek information for the young wolf that is helping the rest of the team. And while Cami's wounds mend, Josh and that guy, if you remember that guy he was flirting with, you know, one of the wolf leaders, they seem to get pretty closer, which makes for better team vibe, and it's pretty much what I think is going on here. I pretty much predicted what was going on, is that they're combining, you know, they're going to unite, and that's what's going on here. The vampires and the werewolves, they're uniting, because Marcel's working with the werewolves, and, you know, I like that, definitely, because I like seeing these people be a family, because at the end of the day, they are a family. They work together, they will do anything for each other, and even though a lot of them can't stand Klaus, in the back of their mind, that's really what matters here, is protecting Klaus. And I'm sure Marcel cares about Klaus, we know that, because Marcel has treated Klaus with a lot of respect this season. I think Haley definitely does care about Klaus, because she genuinely has had those conversations with Klaus. She really does care about him. She cares about him. Cami, I'm kind of on the fence about, but, you know, it's really all about Klaus here, is that they're doing this for everyone, including Klaus, and I think they're okay with that. So Cami and Haley are discussing what is going on with Klaus, and they seem pretty calm for now, and Kol and Davina are trying to forge new daggers that will enable them to dagger Klaus the way he did with gold. And he's continuing to joke and try to charm her, and he pulls out a diamond. They hold hands so they can draw power from each other, and it seems to have worked. It's igniting a flame, maybe something even more between the two, and he insists that together the two of them will change everything. And I believe him. I believe that these two can do a lot, definitely. They're very powerful together. They have a very strong bond, and I definitely, as I said, feel these two are going to get together. I don't know when, but I think they are. And I really hope that he sticks around. I hope he's not on for just the first half of the season, because Daniel Sharman, I thought he was great on Teen Wolf, but holy shit, he is doing just an amazing job here. I thought he was absolutely fantastic with his acting this episode. He's been so good all season, definitely. He was absolutely fantastic. So, Klaus and Ansel, this is probably the saddest scene of the episode, definitely. This was the scene that I was just like, okay, this episode definitely, this scene was just amazing. Klaus and Ansel, they're having a brief moment of understanding. By the way, guys, this part kind of made me contemplate, was this episode the best episode of the season? Because this scene was just so well done. Because Klaus refused to take on his father's offer. Because Ansel wants to help him, you know, take down Esther, but Klaus doesn't want to do it. Because I think, number one, it's, like, way too late. Like, he just randomly showed up and he doesn't really trust his father right now. I don't think it's so much that he doesn't trust him. I think it's more the fact that he doesn't know if his father is the right person to take down Esther. And I think pretty much from what happened last week, he wants to take down Esther himself. I'm pretty sure that it makes sense. He wants to take him down himself. And I want him to, because definitely, because of what happened with Klaus last week. I mean, he almost lost his brother because of his mother. So I want him to take down Esther himself. I don't want anyone to take him down for him. I want him to do it, definitely. So, when we get when Esther dies, which is probably going to be the first half of the season, because I feel the first half is going to be Esther, and the second half is going to be something else. Maybe not. Maybe I'll be completely wrong, and we'll have something else happen, but I don't know. But Klaus says that he's waited too long to try to save him and his new family, and Klaus vows to save and keep safe his daughter from all enemies. He walks toward his father to try to end his connection by what seems to be an attack, and he ends up murdering him. So, it's really sad. And at first, he's kind of, like, shocked by what he just did. And I'm like, Klaus, you just killed your father. What the hell? But then we see Klaus. He is so upset at what he did. He gets this look on his face. And Joseph Morgan just handled this perfectly, in my opinion. I thought he did an amazing job there. I loved his acting in that scene. And the way that was done just really made me almost think this episode was the best episode of the season. It almost made me think that. I was about, like, this close to thinking that, and I'm like, was this episode the best episode of the season? I don't know. But it wasn't, because I thought last week's was stronger, but that scene was so well done and so amazing, and it's so sad to watch, because you know that he does want to have a relationship with his father, but he knows it's not the right thing to do right now. He knows he can, and it's so sad that happened. So, Davina is ready to leave, and Kol dives into her mind and charms her by tucking her in, and that was very sweet. I thought that was sweet what he was doing. Kind of creepy, but sweet at the same time, and I do like what's going on between them. So, Finn approaches this wolf, and it seems that he has found out the plan. He attacks him and wipes out Josh as well, and Haley takes Finn, and this was awesome. He's in, like, this church and everything, and the effects in this scene just, oh my god, the effects are incredible. The effects in the originals are always incredible, but this scene in particular, I gotta give it up to the effects. The effects were amazing in this episode, I gotta say. I love the effects, definitely. I thought the effects were just fucking awesome, definitely. I love the effects, definitely. I thought they were great. So, basically, he wipes out Josh as well. Haley is like, I'm not going to let you do that. So, she takes Finn down for a moment. She continues to attack him. They exchange words. He makes a break to try to kill Haley. Obviously, he's not going to. So, that is until Jackson comes in and drives a few arrows into him. Cami finishes all up by applying the shackles and trapping him. So, Finn is now tied up, and that was awesome stuff right there. Especially that Cami did that. Like, I would have never suspected that Cami was that powerful. I would have never expected that Cami would go through with something like that. And the fact that she went through with it and did it so flawlessly, I gotta give it up to Cami. I mean, I never thought that Cami had that kind of, that kind of mojo and strength and power in her, but she really is a badass this season, and they've really made every character this season just so much more likable. I remember beginning last season, I hated Cami. I wanted nothing to do with her, and she's becoming definitely one of the best characters on this show, just because of that scene in particular. I thought she was just amazing in that scene, especially because she's a human, so I thought that was awesome that she was the one to trap Finn. So, Klaus returns to Elijah's side and talks to him before applying the remedy, because of course the whole episode was about trying to find the remedy, and he found it. And he tells him that the bloodlust was and I thought this was really well done, because he's not only talking to Elijah on, the bed and everything, he's talking to him in his mind as well. So, I thought this was cool, that we kind of saw, he said something to Elijah, while he was asleep, and, like, under the spell and everything, and they said something to Elijah while he was, like, a little child, so I thought that was really cool the way that was done. So he told them that the bloodlust was forced upon them by their parents, and that they are the demons lurking in their shadows, and they are the savage villains, where for Hope, he wants the two of them to be her knights in shining armor. He wants Hope to have a good life. That's why he got Hope away from New Orleans, because he wanted his daughter to have a good life. So he begs for his brother to awake. He's pretty much just on the verge of anything. Any kind of hope, any kind of miracle. That's what he wants right now. He hands him the remedy, and what makes for one of the most... this was one of the most touching scenes, definitely, in the episode. I thought the scene was just so touching and so well done. I loved this scene, the way it was done. I thought it was just amazing the way they did this. He hands him the remedy, and Elijah wakes up, and he's okay, and they have this, like, really nice reunion, and it's just such a great way, such a great scene, because it really shows the bond that these two have. They really have a bond that can't be broken, and they're always going to have that. So Haley talks to Jackson about how he found her and saved her, and she thanks him for helping them, and he declares how much Ollie made him believe in her, and Haley tells Jackson that she wasn't the one he was waiting for, but he says that she's better. And Klaus now has a little competition. However, he's now concerned with filling Elijah in on his meeting with Ansel, because he wants to tell his brother straight out that he killed Ansel. And he tells him he's a mess right now, which he definitely is a mess. I mean, think of all the things he's done. I mean, he's been through a lot, definitely. And I really like the way they're writing Klaus this season. You're really sympathizing with his character more and more every episode, and I really like the way they're doing that. Because at the same time, everyone's against Klaus, but it really shows you that Klaus is a very different person now. He's not, this, killer anymore. He has genuine emotion, and he has a heart, so I definitely really enjoy that. The book features, and he shows Elijah this book of art, basically, that his father once had. And this is all cut with a montage. I thought this was very well done. The book features a drawing of a young Elijah, and Klaus tells him that he wanted to trust his father, but he couldn't, and he killed him without hesitation. Elijah asks who killed him, who he killed him for, and Klaus stares at him, to which Elijah says, "Whatever innocence remains, we must protect it." And Esther sees her love has been killed by Klaus and Kol. She now knows that's happened. She knows that Ansel's dead. She's crying hysterically. Obviously, she's very upset and now she knows that this means war. I mean, this confirms that Esther is pissed, definitely. So, Kol watches over Davina until Marcel walks in, and Elijah suits up in his formal attire, but his memories are haunting him from what he was shown, and you can see that he still has those memories back with Tati and everything. So, Davina awakens and she's hurt again to realize that Kol is left, and my question is, why did Kol leave? Was this something that Esther told him to do? Did he feel that he wasn't in the right place here? Did he feel that she wanted nothing to do with him? I don't know why he just randomly just took off, but that was definitely interesting. So Esther walks in, she begins to work a spell on Cami, and it looks like she may not survive. I'm pretty sure they're going to kill off Cami. I mean, Cami's had so much to do this season. I thought she was going to die last season, and they need to kill someone off, definitely. They need to kill off a main character, because the way this storyline has gone, they're going to kill off a main character. They just have to, because Esther is just that powerful that she can do that, and I don't think Cami's going to survive, and I know what she's trying to do. Klaus cares about Cami. Klaus admitted he's in love with Cami. He admitted that last season, and Esther knows this. So if Esther kills Cami, this is going to be something for Klaus to be even more upset over, and I think what she's trying to do here is, again, resurrecting Thalia is a last-minute thing. So, it's like the last straw, basically. So if she kills Cami, then her work is done, and maybe Klaus will finally listen to her. That's what she's kind of thinking right now. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And Klaus and Elijah are plotting on their mother's revenge, and I love the way this episode ends. They've tied up both, and we find out why Kol is left. Because they've tied him up. He's tied up, and so is Finn. And I love the way Klaus says, he says, you have no idea what's about to happen, and that was the way the episode ends, and it's going to be amazing next week. First of all, next week, Rebekah's finally coming back. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week with Rebekah coming back. And I heard that Claire Holt confirmed that she is sticking around, which I'm very happy about, because I really do like Rebekah as a character, and I've missed her. I have. I've really missed Rebekah, and I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen with Hope. It makes sense why she's coming back, because they focused on Hope so much in the past few episodes, that it makes sense she has to come back, definitely. Klaus wants to check up on his daughter and find out what's going on there. So, is Davina going to think that Kol doesn't really care about her now? I think this episode confirms that he truly does care about her. He revealed everything. Is he turning against Esther? I don't know what's going to happen there. We'll have to see. Is Cami going to die? I don't know. I think Cami might die. I think something bad's definitely going to happen to her. But what do you guys think is going to happen there? What did you think of the Klaus stuff in this episode? I thought that was handled just tremendously. I love the way that was handled. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know, once again, guys, this is a long review, but this show is just... There's so much that goes on in every episode, and there's so much to talk about, and I love this show, and it's the best show on the CW by far, and it's my favorite Monday. It's my favorite show I watch on Mondays, and it's one of my favorite shows I'm watching on TV right now, and I get so invested in it, and I know these reviews are getting longer and longer as they go on, but my review for the mid-season finale is probably going to be like 40 minutes or something, but who cares, because I love this show so much. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Gotham, which I'm actually really looking forward to, because we're going to see Harvey Dent, which I'm looking forward to, definitely. So I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.